Today I have got my thoughts on the Netflix take on Book 2 of The Last Kids on Earth, which is The Last Kids on Earth and the Zombie Parade. And before we get into this, the spoiler is in effect. So if you don't want to be spoiled and you haven't either read the books or seen the Netflix series, which I actually would recommend reading the books before you see the Netflix series, would be recommended, because if you do it the other way around like I did, these books are kind of backwards in terms of when you read them, because then you know exactly what's going to happen throughout the book. And if you watch the Netflix take after reading the book, you don't know how they're actually going to do it. So that's just a little heads up for you guys. But we'll get into the book series. And this was really, really good 10 episode set. The first one was just a hour long movie thing to introduce a lot of the characters, but I love that they did it into 10 episodes a lot more, because I feel like that gives you more suspense in terms of the story, which will help greatly with the next 3 books whenever those hit Netflix. And I just think that the way they did the Netflix take for this book was perfect. And one of the surprising things that we find out in the second episode is that Mark Hamill actually voices one of the good guy monsters. And that just surprised me, because I've always known Mark Hamill to be the bad guy in any series that he's a voice in. Doesn't matter if it's Scooby-Doo or Batman. I've always known him to be the bad guy. So for him to voice a good guy is kind of surprising, and he does a really good job at the voice of Bardell, which is the monster that he voices. And Bardell helps Jack, June, Quint, and Dirk with some new adjustments, since they have to live now in an apocalypse, which is quite different for them, which they've fended for themselves pretty good so far. But they don't know until the end that they actually helped the main bad guy, which is Thrall, which I don't know who voiced him right off the top of my head. The only one that I know for sure is Mark Hamill, just because he's the only one that I can recognize in pretty much anything. Doesn't matter if it's Batman or anything like this. But he's the voice that I can recognize pretty quickly. So I don't recognize the voice of Thrall, which is the main bad guy, which he actually friends the 4 friends to trick them into completing something for him, so he can get a basically super evil monster from the monster dimension that all the other monsters came from. And we learned that the portal that brought the monsters into the human world closed before the main super evil bad guy could get in. And so that was quite interesting. And we also get a little bit more backstory onto June and what she's been through even before the apocalypse hit. And so that was a lot of fun, because she's probably behind Jack. She's probably my favorite character in the series. Doesn't matter if it's in the books or in the Netflix movie takes. I just think that those two, they just go so well together. And it's just done perfectly well. And I just think that book 2 does a great job with just about everything. I can't really think of anything bad that they did with the Netflix take for book 2 of The Last Kids on Earth. I think they did this one a lot better than the first one, because I think the 3 hours, well, basically 3.5 hour runtime for the second book is a lot better than the hour and 10-minute runtime to the first book. And so that's just my thoughts for The Last Kids on Earth and the Zombie Parade Netflix series. So you guys can tell me your thoughts on this video in the comments section below, and just like and subscribe for more, because I will do more in the future.